Hello everyone and welcome to the preview of the biggest game of the club football. Welcome to the Champions League Final. On one hand, we have got the English champions Manchester City, who are chasing the footballing immortality with the promise of being on the esteemed list of teams that have won the treble. The Champions League has been the one trophy that has eluded City ever since their takeover in 2008. Now, they are one game away from winning it and completing a sensational treble. On the other hand, we have got Italian giants Inter Milan, who despite being underdogs for this one, will be determined to play the game for their lives and cause an upset. But most importantly, we like to add another Champions League trophy in their cabinet after already winning it thrice. So without any further ado, let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about how both of the teams have performed in the season overall. Manchester City ended the season in unstoppable form, storming to the Premier League title with 12 straight wins, before beating Manchester United at Wembley in the FA Cup final last week. There is little surprise, they come into this game as huge favourites. Meanwhile, Inter Milan finished third in Serie A, and although they ended their season with 11 wins from 12 games in all competitions, including a Coppa Italia final over Fiorentina, they will have their work cut out to beat City here. Despite playing for a long time in European competitions, Manchester City and Inter Milan have never met in a competitive game and will face off each other for the first time in Saturday's Champions League final. They last played a pre-season friendly back in 2011 when a certain Edin Dzeko, likely to start up front for Inter, scored one of City's goals in 3-0 win. The Man City team have got no major injury in their squad, although a minor concern for Kyle Walker was recently reported by Guardiola, who confessed that the right back had been experiencing trouble with his back. However, Walker himself has since alleviated concerns regarding his fitness, and the England international should form part of a fully fit contingent for the citizens. With no new contract agreed, Saturday's game could very well be the last game for City captain Ilkay Gundogan in sky blue colours. As for the Nerazzurri, Inter lost former Manchester United midfielder Henrik Mkhitaryan to a thigh injury in the second leg of his side's semi-final success over AC Milan. But the Armenian playmaker is reportedly winning his battle to be fit for the final. The same can be said for Argentine attacker Joaquin Correa, who picked up a calf issue against Fiorentina in the Coppa Italia final. Although a spot on the bench will await the 28-year-old if he is given the green light to make the journey. Even though City have so many talented players in their team, let alone their squad, it is impossible to look past Erling Haaland as the player to watch on Saturday night. He has 12 Champions League goals for the season, which puts him level with Ruud van Nistelrooy in 2002-2003 for most goals in a single season for an English club. Haaland has failed to score in his last 2 Champions League games and has never before in his whole career gone 3 games without a goal in the competition, which is just mad, really. He could become the first Norwegian since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 1999 to score a goal in a Champions League final. Inter have a good defensive record in the competition, but they will have to be at their very best if they are to stop Haaland. Inter's top scorer Lautaro Martinez is a big game player, and having ended the season with 11 goals in his final 13 appearances, 4 of which were off the bench, he comes into this game in fine form. Having won the World Cup with Argentina in December, either he or City's Julian Alvarez could become the 10th player to win the World Cup and the European Cup in the same season, having featured in both finals. He only has 3 goals in 12 Champions League appearances for the season, but with City dominating possession and territory, he will play a key role in relieving pressure on his team's defense by holding the ball up and running the channels as he always does so tirelessly. He might not touch the ball very much, but he will be key when he does. Let's start with the predicted 11 of the English champions, Manchester City. The last time Manchester City played a Champions League final, Pep Guardiola bamboozled everyone by playing without a defensive midfielder as his team was upset by Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. However, this time he has promised to not overthink his lineup. After a so-so first half of the 2022-23 season, Man City have looked imperious over the last few months and have a largely settled team in their unique 3-2-4-1 formation. In goal, first choice keeper Ederson will definitely restore to the starting lineup after sitting out on Saturday for the FA Cup final. As right centre-back, the English international Kyle Walker is expected to start after he dismissed the injury concerns, joking that this was because he is getting old, before seriously stating that this was merely a precaution. On the left side of the defense, one of Manuel Akanji or Nathan Ake will start, but the Swiss defender Akanji might just have the edge on his Dutch counterpart due to match fitness and recent performances. In the center of the defense, the Portuguese international Ruben Dias will definitely start after missing a big chunk of the season's middle act due to a hamstring problem and Guardiola's general rotation, but has returned to his formidable all-action best down the final stretch of the campaign. In the middle of the park, John Stones will play as one of the defensive midfielder after settling down smoothly in his new playing position. He was particularly impressive in their FA Cup final victory and has made the Swiss Army knife role his own. Partnering him as a pivot, there are no doubts that Spanish midfielder Rodri will start. After looking tired in the last game against United, literally dropping to the floor in the second half, Pep will be asking of him for one last push for the treble. In the right hand of the midfield, Bernardo Silva is likely to start after being another player who has only become a regular fixture in the City lineup in recent months. Silva was the hero of the semi-final second leg thrashing of Real Madrid. As one of the attacking midfielder, probably one of the best, Kevin De Bruyne will start. The Belgian fractured his nose and eye socket in City's Champions League final loss to Chelsea in 2021. If he can avoid such a catastrophic injury in Istanbul, his side should have more than enough to win. As another attacking midfielder, club captain Ilkay Gundogan is expected to start. Few players have boosted their legacy in the last couple of months the way Captain Gundogan has. His most recent heroic performance was a match-winning brace in FA Cup final. On the left side of the midfield, English player Jack Grealish is expected to start. He was perhaps a little unfortunate to have conceded a penalty last time out in FA Cup final, but he massively improved in his second season at the club. And as a striker, it is no-brainer that Norwegian giant Erling Haaland will start. Heading into the final game of the season, Haaland has scored 52 goals in 52 games for Manchester City. His Ballon d'Or credentials will strengthen to no end with a huge performance in a Champions League final. Now talking about expected starting 11 of Internazionale, their manager Simone Inzaghi filled his lineup in the formation of 3-5-2. In goal, their Cameroonian goalkeeper Andre Onana will definitely start. He has confirmed his first choice credentials after a string of sterling performances and will finish as the Golden Glove winner of this season's Champions League after keeping at clean sheets, 2 more than his City counterpart, Ederson. On the right hand of the defense, Simone Inzaghi might opt for Steven de Vrij instead of Matteo Darmian, as Dutch international provides a bit more physicality than Darmian, which will be crucial against the City side. On the left side, Alessandro Bastoni is favourite to start. Italian defender had a phenomenal season and have impressed everyone with his performance throughout the season. In the center of the defense, Francesco Acerbi is a surefire starter. Despite only joining Inter on the final day of the summer 2022 transfer window on loan from Lazio, veteran defender Acerbi has become a dependable and reliable part of Inzaghi's squad. As a right wing back, Denzel Dumfries have got his starting position locked up. The Dutchman has registered a decent total of 7 assists for Inter this season, though none in 11 Champions League appearances. As a left wing back, Federico Di Marco is expected to start. The versatile 25-year-old has proven a potent outlet on this run to the final, contributing 5 assists, including 3 in his last 2 Champions League outings. In the center of the park, Hakan Çalhanoğlu will definitely start. The Turkish midfielder is one of the best in his position and will be key to the final winning quest for Inter Milan, as his talent and performances are unmatched. As the right midfielder, Italian talent Nicolo Barella will definitely start. The Italian midfielder has played 11 Champions League matches this season and has scored 3 goals in this year's campaign. He is one of the key players in Inter's squad, and he is the key to Inter's slim chances of winning the title. To partner Barella on the left side of the midfield, Marcelo Brozovic is likely to start. In and out of Inter's starting lineup with various injuries over the course of the season, but is fit and raring to go for the final. He scored his side's only goal in their most recent 1-0 win at Torino. As one of the striker, Edin Dzeko is likely to start over Romelu Lukaku. Even at 37 years of age, former City striker remains a danger in front of goal, finding the net 14 times this season. And partnering Dzeko in the attack, Argentine Lautaro Martinez will definitely start. Despite winning the World Cup with Argentina, Martinez was mocked for his performances in Qatar, but El Toro has come roaring back into 2023 with a series of stunning displays. Manchester City are entering in this match as huge favourites, so it is their match for losing rather than Inter for winning. It is given that Pep had learned from his previous mistakes and won't overthink his lineup in this match, so the free-flowing attacking football is expected from Manchester City. So the main question will be, how can Simone Inzaghi man disrupt Manchester City play and ultimately get better of them? So let's look at how Inter can stop Manchester City. There is one team which has been headache for Pep from a long time, and that is Tottenham Hotspur. In their matches against City, they display amazing counter-attacking football, often sitting deep in their own box and quickly breaking the City line of defense by long passing and taking advantage of the speed of Heung-min Son and precise finishing of Harry Kane. When asked about Spurs' play, even Pep implied that they are not much interested in playing football. But sitting back, letting City have the ball and trying to stop them from getting into dangerous areas by crowding the penalty area is one potential route to success against them. Even if it is much easier said than done. Many teams have tried and failed to do it before, and there is no guarantee that it will work. City mistakes in possession are rare, but they have so much of the ball that the odd one is inevitable, and in order to beat them, you have to take advantage. Nobody is mad enough to press City high up the pitch for a full 90 minutes, but when teams press intelligently against them, they sometimes have some joy. When Tottenham beat City at home in February 2023, they didn't press City high up the pitch consistently, but they did pick their moments to press wisely. Speaking of taking advantage when City made a mistake, Spurs only managed one shot following a high turnover in that game. Harry Kane's 15th minute effort, which brought the only goal of the game in what turned out to be 1-0 win. Set pieces are probably the only time when City are reduced to mere equals with their opponents, which will be part of the reason they work so hard to avoid those situations. They conceded only 97 corners in the Premier League all season, which was 39 fewer than any other team. Again, it's about taking your chances against them. The fact that 20% of their expected goals conceded came from the set pieces this season, the second highest in the Premier League behind Crystal Palace, shows just how important they could be for Inter. Arguably, just as important as a coherent game plan, a fully fit team, and well, everything that could possibly go right for your own team going right. You also need City to be way off their best. That might mean Erling Haaland not taking every chance that falls his way, or John Stones not quite playing like a modern day Franz Beckenbauer, or Kyle Walker tripping over his laces as he runs back to make a clearance, or any other number of equally unlikely things, really. The 22-23 UEFA Champions League season will conclude at Istanbul's Atatürk Olympic Stadium on Saturday, 10 June 2023. The final will kick off at 9 p.m. Central European Time or 10 p.m. local time in Turkey. Despite Inter Milan's UCL final record, this fixture is being pegged as one of the most one-sided finals of all time. Manchester City are rampant, and the treble at the end of the road is too big a prize. Inter Milan have done very well to reach this far, but in terms of squad quality and depth, Manchester City are head and shoulders above them. Then again, a similar narrative surrounded the final when Tuchel's Chelsea faced Manchester City in 2021 final. The moral of the story is anything can happen in a one game of. A counter-attack here, a mistake there, all of a sudden an upset is on the cards. Having said that, it still feels foolish to look past Manchester City for this one. Inter's win would be an upset for the ages. My prediction is 3-1 win for Manchester City. So that's it for the video guys. I'm hoping for a cracker of a final. Drop your predictions down below in comment section and goodbye until we meet again.